What's going on, everyone? Hope everyone is well. Welcome into another edition of 27 in Q alongside that guy right there, two-time Super Bowl champ, former running back from the Giants, number 27, Brandon Jacobs. I'm Rich Quinones. Appreciate everyone keeping us locked in. As always, hope everyone had a good sports weekend. And as the weather starts to get a little chilly, so to speak, on the East Coast, we're in the football weather. We're hoping to hear from Jesse Hart, super middleweight out of Philadelphia in about 10. So I guess he can maybe go back to that interview with Demond Nicholson and a little beefing right there between those two. So we'll see how that transpires. But big man, the Jets get a win. And I can't figure this nonsense out. I mean, you got the Daniel Jones out, Taylor out, Saquon, Mr. Everything, and the Giants going to win another 3-1 after 4 games. How are you?
Hey, man, that is absolutely fucking phenomenal. I love it. I love it. Absolutely phenomenal. The New York Giants have found a way to pull in these little wins with little to no stats in the air. But I guess who needs the air when you got Mr. 26, with the strongest quads in the world to carry his franchise to another win. So leading the league in rushing.
Yes.
I couldn't be happier for him. The guy's awesome. I'm happy for everything that's happening for him. The Giants, man, 3-1 now. You keep pushing. I got 9 more to go for my 12 wins. 9 more to go for my 12 wins. So
yeah, right.
Giants. Big time. The Giants rushed the ball this past weekend. 244 yards of rushing on the ground. I mean, you can't beat it. No. You can win games like that.
No
question.
The quarterback made plays again with his legs before he got nicked up. Taylor made plays before he got knocked out. Saquon, emergency quarterback. They did what they had to do. The defense, special teams. You had the monster punt and then the muff by the Bears. Look, I don't care how you script it, man. It's the NFL. It's a week-to-week proposition. You and I know that. You most certainly know that. You take 3 out of your first 4. You go to London. We'll talk a little more about that experience on tomorrow's show. But they've got the Packers coming up. The Packers seem to kind of right the ship against Tampa Bay. They've got some tough games coming up. So, we'll get into a lot more of the Giants a little later on and tomorrow, as I mentioned. But again, the NFL, right? Week-to-week proposition. And right now, you called it a couple of weeks ago. You said the most dangerous and the most complete team in the NFL resides down 95. Not the turnpike going up, but coming down south. And that would be the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'll tell you, man, you're down 14-0 in a hole like that, and then they rip off 21 against a pretty decent Jag squad. How about the Eagles on Sunday?
The Eagles look phenomenal, man. Again, the defense could have played a little bit better, but the Eagles look phenomenal. Jalen Hurts leading the team. I mean, I think they are the team to beat in the NFC East, the NFC, and the NFL.
Wow.
It's going to be tough for anybody to knock them out. I got to change my Super Bowl guy from the. I got to change my NFC Super Bowl team.
Yeah, first of all, you can't do that. That's Bush League.
I know.
It's already been put down a marker, man. Once it goes down a marker, that's pretty much.
Yeah. So,
but you're going to crown him after 4 games?
Hey, man, they look great. Look at what they're doing. Over 4 games, they're physically dominating their opponent.
And they're causing a lot of turnovers.
It looks easy for them. Now, it didn't look that easy on Sunday, which is Jacksonville Jaguars and Doug Peterson winning in Philadelphia. And it made it hard for them. Jumped up on them, like you said, 14. And again, the defense broke down in the second half of the game. And I mean, stats-wise, I can't say that the Eagles Jalen Hurts was 16 for 25 for 25 with 204 yards with 1 touchdown. Again, no turnovers, no interception for him in the air. They ran the football good. I mean, look, they had 100 and what? He had 27 carries for 134. That's 5 yards with 2 touchdowns. I mean, you can't beat that. You want your guy to be putting up yards like that. I mean, Miles Sanders, man, he just ran the ball relentlessly. I mean, he did great, and he picked up a few blitzes. I mean, he's a total package, as a running back, and I like what I see, what I'm seeing from him.
Giants and the Eagles are two of the top 5, 6 rushing teams, better rushing teams in the NFL. Washington, you might as well just back up the bus there. Carson Wentz is a shot quarterback. I think Ron Rivera is on the hot seat. You already start to see the frustration boiling with the Monday after presser. And then Dallas thumps Washington with Cooper Rush and Jerry Jones. You know, how convenient saying one more week for Dak. That's because you got the hot hand in Cooper Rush right now. So you have the Giants at 3-1, Dallas at 3-1, the Eagles at 4-0 in the NFC East. I mean, it's a pretty competitive division, but man, it is week to week. I mean, look at last night, right? Everyone was waiting. All right, Rams are going to get right. The 49ers are a 1.5 favorite. Jimmy G, I think 5-0-1 last 6 ATS against the Rams.
Yeah, 7-0, 7-0.
Yeah, those teams know each other. The head coaches know each other. And then you talk about a defense, a dominating defense, and it was last night. San Francisco, man, I get they have some deficiencies from an offensive standpoint. Just give the ball to Debo and everyone get the hell out of the way. Their defense sacked Stafford 7 times last night, man. You know,
I mean, that game last night looked way too familiar to me. Watching the Giants versus Dallas, they just got after the quarterback. I mean, San Francisco pinned their ears back and they went and got it. Offensively, they didn't really rely too much, you know, on Jimmy G as much. Debo Samuels made a lot. I mean, Debo Samuels made a lot of plays. He made some plays, turned some plays into touchdowns that absolutely shouldn't have been touchdowns through some missed tackles and, you know, certain mishaps on the defensive end of it. But the San Francisco 49ers again look good. Those guys are my NFC pick, as they were before. I'm just looking to see what they do. I mean, Jimmy G is getting comfortable. You know, he came off the shoulder surgery, obviously.
yeah.
And he's just getting back in the groove of things. Probably wasn't ready to go in when he had to go in, due to Trey Lance going down.
Yeah.
But he went in and you know, he's trying his best to lead the team. So I guess it's week by week for him when he's going to be able to get back into the groove of things.
Yeah, listen, and right now with that defense, you play defense like that, you play lights out. We're seeing it across the league. You know, we're seeing some big time efforts. We're seeing teams with the backs against the wall. The Raiders finally pick up a win. The Cardinals, you know, again, maybe they figured it out. How about Atlanta? No one's talking about the Falcons all of a sudden 2-2 with Mariota. And that's a team that quietly had I guess you can say kind of a gut check win the other day. Titans, Derrick Henry, start cranking him up. There you go. So
yeah.
I just can't crown teams 4 weeks in, man. I can't.
I mean, you're not really supposed to crown a team 4 weeks in, Rich. I mean, you got to line up every Sunday, Thursday, or Monday night and play the football game.
Yeah.
You and I both know that. I mean, to crown a team is kind of hard to do. I mean, I crown Buffalo for the AFC and San Francisco for the NFC, right? But at the end of the day, they still got to play football. What I see is a huge, ceiling for both teams. And I'm going to stick with that. You know, the Eagles look good. I think, and I want them to choke in the playoffs, obviously. And I want them to choke in the division, obviously, to the Giants. But who knows?
You know, Kansas City, every time you start to sleep on them, they put up 41 the other night. We mentioned Dallas, Atlanta, Minnesota with the double doink in London over the Saints. So I'm back on that Cousins bandwagon for the week, if you will. Chargers right the ship. Green Bay, that was hey man, they were 9.5-point favorite at home. And I think I text you, if you can't win against a emergency quarterback, if you're Green Bay going against New England, you're 9.5-point favorites. They don't cover the number, obviously 27-24, but Green Bay now 3-1. They're getting ready to take on the Giants, who might not have a quarterback, whether it's going to be Jones or Taylor. So I saw some really nice, impressive performances, a lot of high scoring games as well. The Jets get to 2-2. Zach Wilson, back. We'll talk a little more about the young quarterbacks as the show progresses. We're hoping to hear from Jesse Hart in a moment, but as you said, it's the NFL, right? And I know Coach Coughlin used to say, you break the season down in quarters, so to speak. And if you're a Giant fan right now, and you say it tongue in cheek, but 3-1, I don't care how you got there. And I honestly believe if there was another coach on that sideline, Shermer, McAdoo, or Judge, I don't believe this team would have been 3. I don't believe the team would be 3-1. I don't. I think coaching has a lot to do with it.
I gotta go with you, man. I gotta agree with you there. You won't get much disagreeing from me much on that comment. Um, I think those guys want the right job for the right coaches for the job. Again, I think Dave Bull is playing good enough for us. 3-1. I don't think we ever started off at 3-1, and we went to Super Bowl. So I think he is deep in there than when the Giants have seen in years out of first 5 week of the season or 4 week of the season start. And I honestly don't believe that Judge or Shermer or any other guys that were there could have got this out of these guys like this.
You guys would have those 6-2, 5-3 starts.
Yeah, that's what we would have: 6-2, 5-3. Like that, finishing, really, slightly above 500 is what we were in 2011 when we won the Super Bowl. So we won the Super Bowl at 9-7 that that year. So again, but the Giants again, like you said, they got is Green Bay going to be a challenge for them next week? Here you got Aaron Rodgers, who's 21 for 35 for 251 yards with 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. They rushed. They had a great game on the ground. Aaron Jones had 110 yards rushing. Stop the run and make Aaron Rodgers beat you. I think cutting off one phase of the game for the offense, I think, gives you a better chance to win. I like the Giants' defense against Green Bay, no question.
They need a pass rush. I pulled these numbers up. They're 19th in the NFL in pass rush, and they're getting right around 41%. They're the third most blitzing team in the NFL. And that's the thing. I was texting you when this was happening. It's like feast or famine with this defensive coordinator. You get a 3rd and 20 and everyone has no gap discipline. So what happens? A little screen pass and boom, the running back is off and running. It is feast or famine. You have to get to the quarterback in the NFL. You
got to get to the quarterback. And they haven't applied pressure in the 3 wins. They haven't had much pressure going on, period, on the defense side of the ball. If they can prove that they can get to Aaron Rodgers and force him to make mistakes, they've got a better chance to win a game. But I do not think the Packers' run offense is strong enough to beat us. I think the Giants' defense is playing really well right now, and Aaron Rodgers is going to have to show he can be the guy to beat us. I don't see him doing it. I think the Giants walk into Green Bay and come out victorious.
So
pass rush or not.
If Jones is still hampered, that limits his mobility, to do what he does best. Don't have to rely on Saquon more. And I'm curious to see how the conditions will be in London, right? If it's bad weather, slop. You guys went through this in 2006.
I forgot they're going to London.
Yeah, when you played Miami, 2007. It's just
the first team to go. The first 2 teams to go was us in Miami.
Yeah, and if you get a crappy field, if you get a bad weather, then you're more prone. I think, hey, we'll try to run the ball behind number 26. Offensive line did. Everyone was jumping on Neal, and all of a sudden the kid played very well against Chicago. That is indeed life in the NFL. So we'll talk more.
Because Chicago didn't have a guy that wore the number 11 that wears the ugliest uniforms in the world. Chicago didn't have that guy. So when you give me somebody similar to Michael Parsons or somewhere close, then we'll talk about the next thing.
They got to surround that quarterback with some weapons, though.
Yeah, he's out there running for his life, man, and just trying to make plays. He's a talented kid. He's definitely a talented kid. He's been talented like that since high school. I've been following him since he's been in high school at Harrison High School, right here in Georgia. Justin Fields can play. I'm just not sure what the bulk of his career is going to be. Will he be a starter his whole career, or will he be a quality backup? Who knows?
It's crazy because when you think about it, the Bears historically throughout their franchise, it's not like it's quarterback man.
The quarterback that did the best for the franchise in the last 10 years was Mitchell Trubisky. I would say. Who they had before that? Kyle Orton. They had him for a little bit.
Went to the Super Bowl with him. Yeah, their defense was opportunistic. They had the special team for Hester. You're right. Cutler, which it didn't.
Cutler,
yeah, but you're absolutely right. It's not like they're sprouting out. You would like to see the kid succeed a little bit and kind of build around them. I mean, that can kind of be, well, when you look at some of these younger quarterbacks in the NFL, and we talk about building a franchise, right? If you look at Lance, tough because of the injury. Fields, Zach Wilson, we saw Kenny Pickett. It was only a matter of time, right? I mean, Tomlin realizes we got to start this kid sooner rather than later. And Trubisky is not even a bridge quarterback anymore for Pittsburgh. I mean, he's just not. Is it tough though playing with a young quarterback? Is it tough?
Well, from what I know, I don't think we could have done as good as we done with a younger guy. I mean, granted, Eli was in his 4th year when he won the Super Bowl now, but it all depends on that guy's forte, that younger guy's forte. What does he like to do? Can he throw it decently, or can he run it efficiently and run the offense efficiently enough to be successful? It all depends on that quarterback's forte. Like, I think Justin Fields should be plenty good in the Chicago Bears offense because he has legs and he can run. He shouldn't be afraid to run. You haven't showed much of that throughout these 4 or 5 weeks of the season. If he gives something, if he give the defense something else to think about. But right now, man, I got to go with Josh Allen, man. I got to stick with Josh Allen. I'm gonna hold on to my Josh Allen being the next up and coming quarterback to take the NFL over.
So when you look at Allen, Herbert, Burrow, Mahomes now has been in the league for a while. Wilson's too young. Lance, the injury. Fields, we mentioned. Tua, we don't know what his future. I mean, Allen to me looks to be like that quarterback that made the right, the maturation process from year number 1 to year number 2 to year number 3. And now we're seeing that team was down, 17 the other day against a really good Baltimore squad. And they still figured out a way to win that game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, it showed a lot of guts. It showed a lot of guts. Defense showed a lot of guts, and they ended up putting through. So, I mean, we're going to see. I mean, like I said, teams are it's just now starting to find their identity, what they do best, So the next 3 or 4 weeks throughout the NFL will be very critical to see who's going to actually, be the king, through this first half of the season.
All right. So it looks like we got our guy. See, he figures it out. We just got to make sure he takes us off mute. See, we get Jesse up there in a second. Look at that. See, now he's walking. Look, he's casual. This is what he does. He's casual. He's going to go back. He's going to go all the way in the back. See, I'm going to tell him to unmute it if he can hear me. There you go. That's what I do, man. You got to unmute that, Jesse Hart. Come on, man. He said he's trying to unmute it. Unmute. Let's see. That's on you. That's on you. You can jump, you can do, Jess, you can jump out and you can jump back in, but just check the audio.
Well, Jesse's about 28. What? He's 27, 28 and 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty goddamn good.
Now he keeps talking to us.
I can't hear him. I can't even see him.
So I'm going to tell you what to do, Jess. Here, hold on a second. Log off. Then log. This is what we do. So log off and then jump back in, and you'll be able to unmute it. Trust me. You gotta take my word for it. So we'll see if we can get him. See, I send these links and I try to simplify it for everyone. So he'll jump back on. I try to simplify it, B. And I give him credit because he called me up and he literally said, look, I'm at the gym. I'm getting home. Let me go home real quick. Yeah. And his father was a hell of a fighter back in the 70s, Eugene Cyclone Hart.
Mm-hmm.
And again, kind of the cusp of it is Jesse's got a fight coming up in December. Now, Ken, I think you're good connecting to audio.
I can hear him.
Okay, go ahead, Jesse. Look, he's going to keep trying it. So While we have him here anyway. So yeah, like I said, the thing with Demond when these guys were going back and forth, it was a good fight. It was an interesting fight, but if you go back and you actually watch the highlights of that fight, it was a situation where, when the fighter like basically kind of gets scraped a little bit and then the gloves hit the canvas, they rule it somewhat of a knockdown, so to speak. It was just one of those issues where the referee, Sean Clark, was actually kind of making him go back into the corner. And that's when he turned his head. And then that's when he was able to get Demond out of there. So we'll see if they can fix the buffering, and we'll just continue on. But, everything going on right now with boxing, I mean, I pulled it up. This is ridiculous. No Ryan Garcia, no Shakur, no Tank, no Haney, no Spence Crawford. I mean, this is not what the boxing fan signed up for, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only fight I'm really looking forward to seeing is Crawford, Spence. That's the only fight I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm not looking forward to seeing any of the fights at 35. At 35, to be honest with you, because I think the fighters are still really young and haven't really hit their best yet. So I'm not really looking forward to seeing any of those fights. But to your credit, like for what you said, the 147, here we thinking this fight is signed. Here Terrence Crawford comes in and agree to a 60-40 split, agree to all the things that Errol Spence wants to make him sign the contract. Everything is to his. I think they're dealing with the rematch clause now. And I think, I don't exactly know what the problem is, but I think that's what it is. I think one of the guys wants to have a right to fight the next. I think it's Errol. He wants to fight for his next number one contender at the division if he beats Terrence Crawford. I'm thinking he thinks that Terrence shouldn't get a rematch right after. But this is not about the WBC, the WBO, and all this boxing stuff we're talking about. We talking about two guys who thinks they're the best. One just beat the other. Like Terrence, I don't think Terrence mind fighting Errol. I think Terrence will fight Errol 5 times if he wants.
Amen, y'all.
What's going on, Mr. Hart?
Locked in, goddamn. I'm sorry, y'all.
Jesse, what's going on, man? I sent you the link. I walk you through it.
I am so sorry.
It's all right, man. It's all right.
No, you're all right, man. You good.
I'm so sorry, fellas.
You good, man. Just make sure the other window is not opening up, but we're good right now. There you go. There you look, my man, pots and pans, Jesse Hart. He said, Rich, I'm coming back from the gym. I want to do this right. And like a good fighter, he fought through it. What's going on?
Everything good. I can't complain, man. Everything's good. Like I said, I appreciate y'all guys for having me on. Brandon Jacobs, huge fan of yours, bro.
My God.
Brother, yo, this is like decent for me. Like Brandon, use a little Philly respect you, yo.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, man.
Ridiculous. Comes on waxing poetic about you.
It means a lot coming from somebody from Philly, man.
Yeah, that's love. That's love, Brandon.
No question. I appreciate you, brother. I'm a big fan of you as well, man. Yeah, big boxing fan here in myself. Been watching boxing. I've been in boxing. I've been involved in boxing for most of my life. Managed a few fighters, Kendall Holt, Steven Martinez. So I'm big time into the game, man. One of my biggest problems I have with boxing now, me working as a manager, knowing how hard it is for boxers to climb a ladder where they can make decent money to take care of their families and do what they need to do. I understand how hard it is. I'm struggling dealing with the Jake Paul of the world. I'm struggling being a guy, being behind the scenes in boxing, knowing how hard it is for these guys who've dedicated their lives to boxing and still not comfortable and can have a comfortable life for them and their families. And here he comes off of a YouTube screen just like that, making all of this money. And I'm like, and I got a problem, with it, Jesse. I mean, it really bugs me. It really bothers me to the core watching him be able to capitalize off a sport that most boxers who made it their profession to take care of their families still can't fucking capitalize off of. So it's killing me inside. What's your thoughts on Jake Paul and all the madness going on around him?
Well, I'm not going to discredit the business side of the aspect because it's bringing a lot more eyes on our sport. So that's the pro of the whole Jake Paul situation. He brings a lot more eyes to the sport of boxing. He brings a whole different crowd, a whole different dynamic. As far as him boxing going, I really think that he should stick to exhibitions. I mean, you're absolutely right in what you're saying. You got guys that work their whole life to get paydays like that that's really risk their lives. You know what I'm saying? It's countless fighter. A fighter just died. I think last week.
Yep, the kid in Columbia. Yep.
5 years. He died.
That's 2 days after this fight.
And I'm saying that you got fighters that really risk their lives.
Yeah.
For very little reward. And I'm not saying it's on nobody for us to be it's not up to us where we have to risk our lives because we have a choice. But at the end of the day, we did this our whole lives. I've been boxing since I was 6 years old. And for this guy, Jake Paul, to come in the game and make millions just like that is ridiculous, man. I've been doing this since I was 6 years old. I won Olympic trials. I went through the amateurs, the National Golden Gloves, the U.S. Nationals. I've been through the system to be able to take care of my family for the rest of their lives.
Right,
and
absolutely.
I'm in the game, and he just it's just a circus. That's what I call it. You want to enjoy the circus to get some money? He's not a real fighter. He'll never be a real fighter because he never had to endure. A real fighter has to endure. He never
absolutely.
had to.
So let me play devil's advocate for a second, right? So we look at it. If there's no social media, do we even know about him, to be honest?
No,
absolutely not.
Okay. So, all right. So you know where I'm going, right? I mean, from a marketing standpoint, the kid is a genius in that regard. And he's been able to cultivate the use of social media and getting out there, right? So if this is 20 years ago, it's not happening. It's like celebrity boxing, so to speak. So I would say it's the casual fans. And I talked to Brandon about this a week or two ago. It's like the Mayweather adage. I want to watch to see him knock somebody out, or I want to watch to see him get knocked out. That's all this is right now.
Right. But his fans from that YouTube thing is very, very, it's like they're backing him. He has a backing and a following that keeps him in these fights like this, that keeps the magnitude of his fights at the highest level, because the backing, his following, he got a lot that want to see him win, and a lot of YouTube fighters or a lot of YouTube people that really think they can really go. You look at a lot of these fighters. I mean, a lot of these YouTube guys, or they coming from different sports like basketball. You know, you got he knocking out Nate
Robinson.
The guy, Nate Robinson. He beating Woods up from UFC. It's different things that he's doing. That people is buying in to his hype, and it is generating a lot of money because that's his fan base. He brings a different crowd and a whole different dynamic, a whole different diverse. So, far as that, he's generating a lot of more money to the sport. But far as getting the big paydays, I don't think he should be getting paid as much as a real fighter who had to endure. He never had to endure.
Yeah. So I mean, and when you look at it, I mean, he hasn't fought a real fighter. Like, he's fighting Anderson Silva now. He fought Tyrone. He fighting all of these guys, man. All of these MMA guys who punch, who kicks, and who grab. He has yet to fight a guy. He was going to get in with Rockman
Junior.
Rockman didn't make weights. I think he was going to get stopped.
And you say what happened with that, Jacob? You say what happened with that?
He pulled out of the fight because of weight. I mean, you ain't fighting for a belt. You're not fighting under the WBO, the WBC, the BAIBO. You're not fighting in it. So why does a weight matter when the guy is 2 pounds overweight? Get your ass in the ring and fight. His
brother fought boxed Mayweather and was 200 pounds. Mayweather can't get over 160. No type of way, form, or fashion. No, Floyd Mayweather cannot get over 160 pounds, no matter what he does. He have to have a belly to get over 160 pounds.
Right.
At the end of the day, Logan Paul was about 202, 205.
Yeah.
Now you got that going on, but what's the real issue? It can't be about weight. You don't want to fight a real fighter. I seen will destroy him. I was out Marquette, Michigan on the same team. You had to get a scholarship to boxing with Al Mitchell in the U.S. Olympic Educational Center. It was a program for kids who was rated in the top 3 in the amateurs. And man, Hassan Rockman used to spar. And when I tell you that kid can punch, and he is dangerous as far as his punching ability. if you make a mistake and he's able to capitalize on it, it's lights out. It's not, and I'm not saying that Jake Paul is not good. I'm not saying, but I know Hakeem Rockman Jr. can fight. He can box, he can punch, he can do it all. He's a real fighter. And that's why Jake Paul put out of that fight and decided to take a 50-year-old man in Anderson Silva. Come on, man.
Yeah, I don't like it. He's going to stop Anderson Silva, and everybody going to start giving him these praises. Oh, he just stopped Anderson Silva. I mean, Anderson Silva's striking wasn't good when he was 30 fighting in the UFC. His striking wasn't good then. So what makes you think he's going to be 48, 50 years old now and all of a sudden a better striking ability? The guy, he's a washed-up fighter, and that's why he selected him because of the name. But I'm still waiting for him to fight a real fighter. Yeah, I'm still waiting for him to get in the ring with a real fighter. I mean, just shit, you get in with him. He wouldn't pick a guy like yourself to get in with.
He'll never fight me because he knows. I mean, his camp knows. The people that he got surround him knows. No, don't do that. He got people that surround him. You know what I'm saying? Jenny on Love. He knows me very well.
So look,
they know
Jesse,
me.
you have you got a date December 3rd. What you looking at? Like, what you looking for? You got a December 3rd date coming up here. What's up? Like, who you looking to get in there with?
Well, that's currently false information. That's very misleading. Right now we're going through some business situations and a lot of contractual things and things like that for the business side. I don't know nothing about, but my advisor can tell you a little bit about that situation, what I'm going through right now, as far as contracts and different things.
So, so what's going on? What can we look for with Jesse potentially fighting? When is there a timetable for that?
It is, but right now, you know, we're going through some past business discrepancy, and we're clearing that. So, I heard you guys talking about in the future when it comes to boxing, it's tough. You want to feed your family and stuff, but you have to have the right contract, right? You want someone who understands how to read the contract, what comes with it, as far as, you know, paying taxes, and what's the percentage, the breakdown. And I noticed that is where there's a big gap. Boxers want to fight the professional part, but they leave their profession, whereas they get compensated correctly, and it's a limit, you know, for retirement and so forth. So that's where I notice when it comes to the boxing profession that there is a little mislead or a gap, and that as a boxer, they should understand the business side prior to being in the ring. That's what we're doing right now.
Is Jesse still under? I know he's with Top Rank. He got released a couple of years ago, then COVID. And then I'm assuming still with RDR or a free agent right now?
Currently, as for the legal part, he is a free agent, and that
I get it. So I won't push on that. I get it, and I respect that because
he
knows I call the fights in Philly as well. Yeah.
I'm going to be doing public relation events. You should see him in the future in the boxing ring very soon.
All right, there. See that? There you go. See, Jesse comes with the guns. He comes. So then
we can't prepare.
Brandon and
I don't talk business. I'm here to talk boxing.
So
let's talk now, y'all. Now I gave y'all the business part, right?
Yeah, you did. You did.
I'm the fighter. The fighter. I don't handle that. I got somebody I trust dear to my heart. That's family to me. Let's talk boxing.
Brandon and I were talking about this when we had talking about future opponents. Risk to reward, right? We had Demond on. You guys were going back and forth. I went back and I watched a fight, and you talk about risk reward at this point in your career. I have to ask you, right? Because you got to play it balanced. Is that a fight down the road, or is that just something where risk to reward? What's the point of taking it?
What's the point of taking it? I already beat him, but he keep doing these interviews about me, and it's like he got more excuses than a little bit. I mean, every time he loses, I watch his interview with you guys. And every time he loses, he always got an excuse. I wasn't mentally right on this one. Oh, I had kidney problems. Oh, what happened with Steve Rose? I fought Steve Rose on short notice. I did this and this.
Well,
this,
the kidney was a major thing, though. You can't dispute that.
Guys,
You know that. You can't dispute that, Jess.
I'm just saying.
It's always something.
It's always an excuse.
I see what you're saying.
And he said his head, he mentally wasn't right for that situation. But at the press conference, he said this is the focus he's ever been. He said, I came to Philadelphia to beat Jesse Hart in his backyard because I want all adversity. He said, and at the press conference, this is like when Rocky fought the Russian in his backyard. I know whole Philadelphia going to be here for Jesse Hart, but I need the hate. I need the slander. I need this to feed off. I'll feed off this. And I said to myself, I said, this kid really think he can beat me. But one thing I do when I fight anybody, I do a background check. I know he's never had to endure. I know he's not really willing to die in that ring. I know he's not willing to lay it all on the line. I know that, and when I seen him, he still lives at home at 25, 26 years old. I don't know what age he was, but he was a grown man. He still lives at home with his mother and his father. He had 2 children. I know that he never had to, I know that his dad never told him, son, you had a kid, you can't come back home. I don't care, whatever you happen, whatever you go through in the world, you can't come back here with me and your mother. My dad told me that. My father is a former fighter, Eugene Cyclone Hart. My dad told me, he said, once you start having kids, you can't come back here. Once you do that. And I know that his parents, and I'm not knocking them for that. That's their baby, that's their son. But I know he never had to go through no real adversity. And I know I did. I went through real adversity. And it's not about him being a good fighter. It's not about me being a great fighter. It's not about none of that. I just know this, he don't have enough of this. If it get too hard in there, he'll quit. And I really looked at his life. I said, he's a sheltered. He's sheltered. His mother and his father, they got him, and he think this. But when he get in there with a man who's willing to die, and I start punching on him, he's going to quit. And that's exactly what happened.
Seventh round. Yeah, the 7th round. You guys, early on, you clipped him. You took control of the 7th round. He turned around and you got him out of there.
He caught me in the 1st round. And when I got through that, that mentally broke him. You know why? Because he never had to stand up to adversity. Yeah. It mentally said, when I stood up to his hardest punch, he said, hold it. He stood up to that. What else I got? I don't have nothing else. I took his best shot. I ate it. I spit it out. And I said, now you got to take mine. And when I started banging on him, he was saying, ooh, ow. And see, y'all can't hear that in the countries. Brandon Jacobs know what I'm talking about. Because in football, when you on that line, them guys, you hear on the grunt.
You hear that grunt, the grunt.
Yeah.
When I was hitting him, he was grunting, but he was grunting like like it was like, and I was like, oh, he can't take it. He can dish it, but he can't take it. And when it got hard, it wasn't about nothing I did physically, fellas. It was about mentally. He broke mentally. Once I broke this, and he quit. He literally submitted. He bowed down. And he keeps saying my name in these interviews and keeps saying he tried to hurt me and spar. He came to Philadelphia after I defeated him like a man. Man, I went in the dressing room because I respect his father, Wilbert Nicholson. Wilbert, that's his name, his dad. His dad was with me in the amateurs on the national team because that's our region. His dad was with me on the national team. Mm-hmm. He was a coach of the national team. His dad used to tell me stories. His dad used to keep me calm. Real good guy. I never knew they was father and son until the night of the press conference. I asked Mr. Wilbert, what was he doing in Philadelphia? He said, that's my son. And I put 2 and 2 together. And I respect his dad so much. But him, the reason why he said he really wanted to hurt me, he really wanted to kill me, because I said, I don't respect you. You're a quitter. You're a quit. Anybody that quit on me and anything that we do, I don't respect in sports. Because I take this to heart. I know that I'm willing to die. I know my capacity. And whoever beat me in the sport of boxing, they had to be willing to die as well. Absolutely. You got to be willing to endure in here. You got to be pushed to that limit and past that limit every time. Yeah. And my losses came from 2 champions. I only lost twice to 2 people. I lost to 2 people individuals. Yeah. So I know, and lost to the best. So it's like, I know I'm willing to endure. This kid has, what he face? I'll destroy him. This time it'll be even quicker because I know he's a coward. I know he'll quit. Once you got that quit in you, you would never bring it out. Because I know if it gets too hard, you're going to quit. You'll cur out. If it get too tough, if it get just a little, somebody push you past your limit, I'm done. I copped out. And that's exactly what happened in sparring. He came out the first round trying to blast me. I start punching on him. He hopped out in the middle of the second round. His coach was there. His people was there. When I start banging on him once again, I said, he came in really, really excited and throwing punches and hype and yeah, he was right. He was trying to kill me. And then I started punching on him. I rolled with everything that he got. And the first, this is sparring. Catching.
It's not a fight that you would take. It's not a fight that you need. It's not a fight that you want.
It's not a fight that I need, but
Understand.
I will take it though, Rich. I will take it. Now, don't say I won't take it. I will take it because I know he built up a couple wins. Not against good fighters, but Christopher Booker, that's such as Philadelphia.
Tough kid.
The kid that he won a belt from, a regional title. He was undefeated. He won his last 3 or last 2. I can't really say that, but in our actuality, in our reality, if he wants to fight me for the right amount of, I'm not gonna say money, for the right amount of rankings and everything, if it keeps me where as climbing the ladder, why not?
It's worth it then. It's worth it then. But if you're not going to climb a ladder or get any opportunities off of it, then it's pointless.
Thank you, Brandon. If I capitalize on beat up again, what I'm going to do? But what you're not going to keep doing is slander and keep saying my name because I'm a man. At the end of the day, I'm a man, and it's just disrespectful. Just keep disrespecting me as a fighter and keep doing these little posts on Instagram and saying, yo, you want smoke. Because I stopped you. It wasn't close. It wasn't a decision. See, that's when you can have a rematch with Jesse Hart, when it goes to the scorecards and it's close and it's a diversion. No, I made you quit. I made a grown man quit in front of your family, in front of your daddy, your kids, and everything. You was a quitter.
Oh, damn. You sound like you got me scared sitting
listen,
there.
I caught Brandon. Listen, I caught a fight. I called Jesse after you lost to Smith. You had the 2 comeback fights, and I called them both. But then Jesse sat calling the fight with me ringside. And let me just say, by the second round of the third fight, my arm was bruised. Black and blue. He was teeing off on me when I was calling the action, trying to do the blow. He was like a racehorse, man. He was sweating.
Rich,
I know.
That excites me. That gives me.
And I love that about you. It's an enduring quality, man. I couldn't lift my arm for about a day, but you know what? Hey, listen, I know we only have you for a couple more minutes. So Brandon and I have been going back and forth. We know you're a historian.
There you go, Rich. I was going to get there.
Sport, okay. So Larry Holmes recently said that today's heavyweights, Fury, Wilder, Joshua, basically they don't have any skill. And you know me, I'm kind of a throwback fan and a historian as well. And I look at the 60s and the 70s and the heavyweights. Brandon's of the belief that Fury is not only an all-time great, but the all-time greatest heavyweight. And I say, who has he really fought when you think about it? When you go through some of the names, okay, fine, Wilder, Klitschko, Cunningham, okay. But then when you compare with some of these other guys, but come on, man, and listen, and Jesse can talk about this, right? I mean, Holmes was a WBC champ, right? He reigned from 78 to 83. Look who he fought, Bobic and Shavers and Norton and
he been in 15
and Tyson and Ali.
15-round warriors, that guy. That guy was Ken Norton. You go look at that fight with him and Ken Norton.
I watched it.
Listen to me. That guy was willing to die in there. A big guy like
down in that Shavers fight, and then knocked him out. I think in the 11th round.
Listen, I'm not taking anything away from those guys, right? However, Mr. Hart, I don't see them having enough skills or having enough talent, okay, to match up with a guy that's like Tyson Fury. The guy's a counterpuncher. He moves. He does all this different stuff. Got great head. He got great head movement. He moved the ring. He used the ring as his team. He stick his jab. He's 6 foot down with nice fast hands. Great counterpuncher. He moves.
Yeah.
You could. I mean, I don't see anybody from back in the day. Larry Holmes, Muhammad Ali, overrated Mike Tyson. None of those guys, man. I don't see none of those guys being able to step in the ring and beat Tyson Fury.
Damn, roll, Brandon. You said an overrated Mike Tyson.
Yeah, he's overrated. Listen, I love Mike. Mike Tyson is a
New York.
Listen, hold on. Mike Tyson is a fighter who's got fans from casual boxing fans because he fought guys that did not move the ring. He fought guys that did not use their space. He fought guys that stood directly in front of him where he could tattoo them and hit them whenever he wanted to be hit. Now, let's pass all of that, right? Let's go to guys who didn't stand there, who didn't move there, who was good counterpunchers, guys who worked behind their jab, guys who used the ring, guys who was counterpunchers. They beat him. He hasn't beat one of those guys yet. He hadn't beat one of those guys throughout his whole career. So if you're going to stand in front of Mike Tyson, he's going to annihilate you.
Yeah, but
if you don't stand in front of him.
But to your point, a Holmes against a Fury, if he's a mix of Ali and Foreman, and he had that great jab, and he had the finishing power, and he had the head movement.
The only one that I wouldn't like against Tyson Fury back in the now you take Tyson Fury out of this era and put him in that 15-round era. Yeah. Against guys like Larry Holmes, against guys like Ernie Shavers, against guys even Ken Norton, and even you might call me crazy, but even Big George.
I'm calling you crazy, Hart. I'm calling you crazy as hell. You need to stop fighting. You need to stop fighting right now.
Listen. Can I say this?
Go ahead.
A cruiserweight pit Fury on the canvas, which was Steve Cunningham from Philadelphia.
That's right.
Now, and wait a minute.
He kept dropping his elbows in that fight.
About what I'm saying
here. Yeah.
Fury start using his size advantage when he doesn't have the skill. He used his weight and his size. That's what he do. He kept throwing that weight.
His elbows.
Yes, grab elbows and doing different things. And he threw Steve down a couple times. He was using a weight. See, when things don't go Fury way, what I can say, if skills because not his best attribute, if a guy more athletic than he is and more skilled than he is, he'll use his size and his weight as an advantage. With those guys in that 15-round era, as strong as the bottom guys was, Ron Lau, like I said, Big George. If Big George, as big as he was and as strong as he is, he caught Fury early and that size didn't work,
I think George Foreman was too stationary for Tyson Fury. I think he didn't move well.
But listen to what I'm saying, though. He was big, his size. He didn't have to. Like Ali said, he punched hard.
Yeah.
He punched hard enough where I have to, and I can endure. Foreman endured. If you look at that Ali-Foreman fight, he had to wear Foreman down. You look at Ron Lau, and that's my favorite fight until this day.
Yeah.
Ron Lau and George Foreman. If you look at that fight, Ron Lau and George Foreman went to war.
Yeah.
I'm talking about big punchers, skill for skill. Fury is, in today's time, he is the best heavyweight in today's time. But if you put him against a Larry Holmes in a 15-round era with the kind of jab that Larry Holmes possesses,
I know, but hold on, Jesse. Hold on.
Listen, Larry Holmes had the best jab in boxing.
No doubt. And he had the finishing punch, too. Other
than Tommy Hearns, you had to say Larry Holmes and another guy who's underrated on his jab was Bob Foster.
And he never got the respect. Holmes never got the respect. Holmes never got the respect because he beat Ali in 1980 and he sparred with Ali, and Ali was his child, his mentor, and he loved Ali, and people looked at him differently after he beat Ali. So yes.
After that, he lost respect. That's why people didn't like Larry. That's why he didn't
hot toddy time, Jesse.
The greatest.
Okay, Rich. So congratulations, you finally got somebody to agree with
Funny. No, that's just I just believe because I don't watch the new guys of today to learn the boxing. I watch all old fighters like Larry Holmes, Tommy Hearns,
Hagler,
Bob Foster, even the guy, the big guy, Jerry Cooney, you can say.
Jerry Cooney?
Jerry Cooney had a hell of a jab to be that.
He fought all those guys.
In that era, he had a hell of a jab to get through. So when I watch things, I watch how they style, how they foot. They didn't make as many mistakes as these fighters of today. These fighters of today, they fight with their hands down. They make so much mistakes that you can capitalize. Like it's like I can see them getting hit before the shot even lands.
Yeah.
Back then, I couldn't find Ray Leonard getting hit. Back then, I couldn't find Tommy Hearns getting hit unless a guy put pressure.
Yeah.
I could even Duran. He beat the Roberto Duran hands and stone. Even that guy, he will beat some of the fighters of today. You know, I'm a real boxing historian, and when you look at the guys back, you know, then they all fought each other. These guys is really playing duck goose now, and it's not right. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be a Hall of Famer, don't take the Floyd Mayweather approach. Take the Sugar Ray Robinson approach, because in today's era, Floyd Mayweather is considered the greatest fighter of all time. Sugar Ray Robinson is still pound for pound the greatest fighter to ever lace up a pair of gloves. If you look at this,
but how though? I mean, I want to understand because I don't see that.
You don't see it, Brandon?
No, I don't see it. I think because I thought Floyd Mayweather took boxing to another level. He took boxing to another level. He didn't stand in there. He didn't take a whole bunch of punishment. Not a whole bunch of punishment. He was a real offensive.
Sure.
He used his offense as his defense. Because his defense, I mean, like I said, he stopped knocking people out because he was already dodging a punch at the end of his punch, so he could never hurt anybody. Right?
How many fighters did he duck when you asked him? See, this is when you ask skill for skill and you didn't take Sugar Ray Robinson. If you was good in his era, you was considered the best, he took you on. Floyd Mayweather missed the Vernon Forrest. Floyd Mayweather missed the Paul Williams. Floyd Mayweather missed Antonio Margarita. It's names on that record that should be on that record that's not on that record today.
Yeah. Well, because all those guys lost. What are you gonna fight guys with a loss on their record for? That don't do him no good.
He did it late in his career though, didn't he? Sugar Shane Mosley, Vernon Forrest.
Yeah.
Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez.
Yep.
You can't say that. Anytime Sugar Ray Robinson, for whoever was the best in his era, he went right to him. He's the best. He got to see me. He's the best. He got to see me. Floyd Mayweather, his name's not on that record. That should be on that record, y'all. And y'all know the names. If y'all go look at history, like I just said, Vernon Forrest, you know, Paul Williams, you know, he was at 154 pounds, 147 pounds. You look at who else I did? Antonio Margarita. Sugar Shane Mosley beat Antonio Margarita.
Yep.
Then he took Sugar Shane Mosley because Sugar Shane Mosley slowed down. He would have never took Sugar Shane Mosley in his youthful days. He got hit with a right hand. That was a glitch, a glimpse of greatness coming from Sugar Shane Mosley. His name's not on that record, and we're just going to keep this credit in there. I don't like it.
We're going to continue this conversation.
We will. We definitely will.
Brandon, boy, brother, is missing some names on that resume.
I can't give you Antonio Margarita. The guy cheated. I can't give you him. Vernon Forrest, maybe he light. You know, Vernon Forrest's life got cut. You know,
Paul Williams. Then what's Paul Williams?
I told you. Listen,
I totally agree with you there. He had size. He had speed. And he had head movement. He had, you know, I give you Paul Williams and Vernon Forrest. I can't give you Margarita though, Mr. Hart.
All right. Listen, I warned you. Once we get Jesse, we wind him up. That's all she wrote. I got 30 seconds. We're gonna get you back on. Don't worry about it. I got 30 seconds. So we'll know. I guess you'll make an announcement down the road on possible next fight, correct?
Absolutely. We're gonna definitely make an opponent. But the truth of the matter is, if Demond Nicholson want to fight, yes, bring his ass to me. I'll shut him down again.
And I'll be there.
I would love to shut him down again. and stop him in his tracks. And this time it's not going to be in 7th because I know he got quit in him. It's going to be in the 4th.
See, all right.
I'm-
Jesse.
You say you know he got
I'm
quit.
going to listen. All the boxing is out the window, being smart. I know he don't have this. He's a boxer. He's not a fighter. I'm a fighter. In my heart,
I've seen it up close and personal for years, man. I still got the war bruises. All right, Jesse. Appreciate you jumping on 27 and Q, pal.
Thanks y'all for having me on.
You got it.
All right, Jesse. Hey, man, good luck to you.
There you have it. All right. There it was. There it was. I told you, man, all you got to do is we got to wind my guy up. That's it. I mean, he's a historian, man. We just got to wind him up.
He threw up names I forgot about.
Oh, yeah. We'll continue it tomorrow. Yeah. Paulie Williams, Vernon Forrest. Yeah. His father was a hell of a fighter
down here, actually.
Yeah.
Somebody think he lived down here like at the time.
Yep.
Guys tried to rob him and he chased him and ended up getting killed.
Yep.
Paul Williams,
Paulie Williams, great fighter.
It ended up getting a bike accident, being paralyzed and couldn't walk. Antonio Margarita, I can't give him that one.
No, because he's hand wrapped. So, all right, listen, we're gonna piggyback this conversation tomorrow. But now chalk one up for Q. I got one on my side.
You got one on your side.
No, I'm glad we got him on. That was great boxing talk. We're gonna do it again tomorrow. We're working on some more fighters. We'll get into a little more NFL. We'll do 27 seconds with number 27 tomorrow. We got your best games, your 5 best. We got to wrap it up. It goes fast, my friend. So, yeah, hey, we always appreciate everyone jumping on board. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, more platforms to come. Follow us on social media, and we got it all. We got it in today, right? Which means
got it in today. Great show today. Looking forward to many more of these, man. Pick my day up. I had a down day today.
Good.
Kind of tired, dragging. Just didn't really feel like, just really wasn't too motivated to do a whole lot. It sucks it came at 7:30 at night. Where I missed a bunch of productive hours, but the show definitely picked me up, Rich. So
good.
I appreciate you, my brother.
Hey, man, this is what I'm saying. See, I got to send you one of these. I got to send you a All right, folks, we always appreciate everyone jumping on board. Great stuff from B, good stuff from Jesse Hart. As always, thanks for tuning in 27 and Q. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll post this up on the YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, comment, 27 and Q. Until then, everyone have a good night, and we'll talk soon.
Peace out, folks.